Good evening, aspirants. So today we will discuss about non-performing assets. Okay. So to understand this topic, let us understand what is the asset. So what is the asset for a bank? If we take a bank, what we can call an asset for the bank? So a bank will have two things. One is deposits and the second one is loans. Loans that a bank give to the normal public. So bank will receive the deposit from the public and bank will give loans to the public. Which one we will call it as a asset for the bank? Either loans or deposit. Okay. Actually we will call anything an asset when it gives us return. Okay. ఏదైనా మనకి రిటర్న్ వస్తే then that thing we will call it as an asset. So in this case loans will give interest for the bank, right? That interest is the income for the bank, that is the profit for the bank. Because of this reason loans that are given by the banks are called as assets for the bank. Deposits, if I am having a deposit in the bank, that deposit that the bank have to give back to me, that is not a income generation for the bank. It is a liability for the bank, that bank have to repay me. But these loans that gives interest for the bank, because of this reason loans are the asset for the bank but not the deposits, right? The name mentions non-performing asset. So the purpose of asset is creating some kind of profit, but here this asset is not performing well, means that asset is not giving returns for the bank. Okay, we will discuss about it, what exactly it is and the things. So if you see the concept of non-performing asset, it was started in the 11th 5-year plan. So it was actually in the 11th 5-year plan. In the 11th 5-year plan, that is started in the 2000. This NPA issue is widespreading out because in 2007 India is 1 trillion economy. Okay, India is 1 trillion economy and Indian market is performing very well. Out of this 1 trillion economy, of 50% of this 1 trillion economy is Indian government is decided to invest in the infrastructure projects. Okay, out of this 1 trillion, Indian government is decided to invest 500 billion in the infrastructure, 50% of this GDP. Okay, and this 1 trillion government is decided to raise via bank loans, right? What happened after that is that, so government and private individuals taken 1 trillion loans from the bank. Out of 1 trillion GDP, these things taken 500 billion loans. This 500 billion loans have to invest in the infrastructure projects. So now private individuals and government bodies, everyone have taken 500 billions of loans. Now the thing is they have to invest and they have to finish this infrastructure projects. What happened after this is that projects have delayed because of environmental issues and land issues. People are not ready to give their lands, and because of environmental issues the regulatory bodies are not giving permissions for these projects. Because of this, these projects have delayed, but the people are already taken the loan. So now what happens, the bank will ask that EMI back, means bank will ask these individuals pay my money back monthly this much. But what is happening here, the projects are not really started. Because of this reason, this bad loans, we also called as non-performing assets, increased enormously. Almost 6.5 lakh crore rupees of worth is placed under non-performing asset category. this much amount is not blocked with the public and it is not generating any income for the government. Okay, because of this reason, this non-performing asset, this concept is widespread and it affected Indian economy very, very adversely. Okay, you have to understand that. So this is the background for the non-performing assets. So what is the background is that in 2007, that is in the 11th 5-year plan, the government invested 50% of GDP in the infrastructure. Because of the delayed projects, because of the environmental and land issues, this 500 billion is going out of this 6.5 lakh crore is placed under NPA category. Because of this issue, this NPA category bank loans are taken seriously by the government. Because of this reason, this NPA is highlighted by the UPSC exam also. So you should have a utmost clarity with this NPA topic. Okay, let us actually discuss what exactly means by NPA. Okay, so if any person taking a loan and he is not paying the loan back, that person we will call it as defaulter. Make sure the terminologies are very clear. Any person has taken a loan and not paying that loan back to the bank, that person will call it as defaulter, right? So the defaulter category, we have categorized the defaulter into three. First one is SMA 0, SMA 1 and SMA 2. Here SMA is special mention account. That account is specially mentioned because they are not paying the loan back. Okay, if the loan is not paid within 30 days, that category of loans, that category of defaulter, we will call it as special mention account 0. Okay, UPSC will ask that special mention account 0 is belongs to the person who is not paying the loan between 30 days and 60 days. It is wrong. It is the person between day 1 to within 30 days, not beyond that. Okay, special mention account 1 means it is a category 2 of defaulter. It means the person is taking loan but not paying the amount between 31 days to 60 days, means before 60 days, right? Special mention account 2 means the person is taking loan but he is not paying until 90 days, means 61 days to 90 days. If the person is still not paying, then that person, that defaulter, we will call it as special mention account 2, right? These are not types of, these are the not types of NPA. These are not types of NPA. These are just types of defaulter. Okay, to understand that NPA concept, you should be having clarity with the defaulter. So defaulter is the person who is not paying the money. He is already taking a loan but he is not paying the money. That person we will call it as defaulter. Defaulter is categorized into three categories. First one is special mention account 0. Second one is special mention account 1. Third one is special account mention 2. Special mention account 0 is the person who is taking loan but not paying within 30 days. Special mention account 1 is a person who is taking a loan and not paying within 60 days. And special mention account 2 is the person who is taking a loan and not paying within 90 days. Right? Beyond this, still if a person is not paying any amount, that person we will call it as non-performing asset. Okay? See here, if the borrower not paying in within 3 months, then that loan we will call it as non-performing asset. Right? It is after 3 category of defaulter, then comes the non-performing asset. Okay? Again, here, non-performing asset is again categorized into 3. Very, very, very important for the UPSC. You always confuse between defaulter category and the NPA category. Okay? NPA starts after the default 3 categories. That from where the defaulter category starts. Okay? If you come to category of defaulter, we have 3 categories of the defaulter. One is substandard NPA, non-performing asset, this one, and the second one is doubtful NPA, and third one is loss NPA. Okay? So the first one, substandard NPA, is the person taking loan and is not paying up to 1 year. Okay? Up to 1 year. This 1 year calculation starts from 90 days. Okay, this 1 year starts from this day. This 1 year starts from this day. Okay, this 1 year starts from this day. From after this third category of defaulter, not from the loan date. Right? From the date the person is mentioned as special account 2, means the after 90 days, still the person is not paying up to 1 year from this 90 days, then that person will call it as substandard NPA. Understand? It is not from the date of bank loan taken. It is from the date of we placed that person under category 3. Right? This is the first category. That person is taking loan and not paying up to 1 year. Beyond 1 year, then that loan, it is doubtful only. We don't know whether we will get it back or not. That after 1 year still is not paying, that kind of NPA we will call it as doubtful NPA. Okay? There is no time limit up to which date. After 1 year it is doubtful. Then after some days, if the bank feels that it cannot take back that loan, then the bank decides to classify that loan as loss. It is up to the bank when to classify. Okay? When to end this doubtful and when to start this loss category, it is up to the bank that can decide. Alright? This is the NPA categories. Okay? Here you have to remember two things. That is not only NPA category. Here you have to remember about defaulter categories also. Okay? So make sure that defaulters are 3. SMA 0, 1 and 2. 30 days, 60 days and 90 days. After 90 days, from this date onwards, if the person is still placed under NPA up to 1 year, then we will call it as substandard NPA. From this defaulter category onwards, here NPA starts. NPA. Here comes substandard NPA. Here comes doubtful NPA. Here comes loss NPA. Understand? First one is this, second one, third one, then start NPA, then again NPA, substandard, doubtful and loss. Perfect, right? So NPA starts from this 90 days. If a person is not paying the amount after 90 days, then we will call it as NPA. Right? This is about NPA. There is a mechanism. So what happens if this we will call it as asset because it is a loan, right? Loan is an asset for a bank. Loan as an asset for a bank. It is an asset, but the asset is not performing. Means they are not getting it back. That is why we are calling it as non-performing. So because it is an asset, the bank have to place some amount, okay, to tackle with this loss. That amount we will call it as provisioning of capital. Very important. What is mean by provisioning of capital is that the certain amount that bank have to keep with them to tackle with the non-performing asset loss. That amount we will call it as provisioning of capital. Okay. In 2016, RBI is introduced a concept that is asset quality review. All these NPA categories came after this only. So we have to categorize the NPAs into this substandard, doubtful and loss. Okay. After checking this, the Indian banks are having lakhs in the NPA category. Okay. There is a proper mechanism how to deal with this NPA and all. This will be discussed in the coming class. Okay. Have you understand the classification of NPA? What do you mean by defaulter? What are the categories of defaulter? When we will call a defaulter as NPA and what are the types of NPA? These are the takeaways from this class, right? So let's move to another topic, that is bank rate. Bank rate, very, very, very important for the UPSC. Bank rate we will also call as rediscount rate. Okay, this bank rate. So if you are an exporter or an importer, if you are an exporter or importer, you won't get any cash. For example, you are an exporter. You are exporting some chairs to USA. You are manufacturer of chairs, a very good quality of chairs that the world will love. So you are exporting that chairs to some other country. So in return, you will receive the money, right? Right? You will receive the money in dollars, right? That money, they won't pay you the money. They will give you a check. That check you have to go to the bank and you have to convert it. Okay? That check we will call it as bill of exchange. Right? When you are exporting a product, you will receive the bill of exchange. Okay? Otherwise, we will also call it as letter of credit. Another name. Okay? While exporting, you will get the bill of exchange. So that bill of exchange is like a check. It will have some value like 1 lakh rupee, and that 1 lakh rupee you won't get it immediately. There is a maturity date. For example, today is a maturity date. Okay? For example, take 25 September 2025 is the maturity date. For example, take. Okay? This bill of exchange is having value of 1 lakh and the maturity date is 25 September 2025. It means that on this date only you will get this money. You have to wait until that. Right? But you are requiring the amount very urgently. What you can do is that you can, if you want money urgently, you can approach a bank. So you can approach a bank. So you can approach a bank and you can say to the bank that I am having this bill of exchange that is having the 1 lakh rupee value. So I need urgent money back. So please take this bill of exchange and give me money. What bank will say to you is that, okay, I will take this bill of exchange. I am not sure whether this amount I will receive or not. If I will receive also, I have to wait until this. Then what is the profit that if I will give 1 lakh, then what is the profit for me? I will give 1 lakh, then what is the profit for me? For me, I am a bank, then what is the profit for me? I will give 1 lakh. What this bank will do is that, okay, this value is 1 lakh. I will give you 95,000 rupees now. This 5,000 I will charge you. Okay? Now you will receive 95,000. When the 25th September date comes, I will receive 1 lakh. That 5,000 rupees is my profit, bank profit. That technique is called as discounting. Discounting of bill of exchange. You are having bill of exchange, you are going to a bank and asking that, okay, I am having this bill of exchange, discount this bill of exchange and give me money. So bank will give you 95,000 and the bank will receive 1 lakh rupee at this maturity date. Now your purpose also fulfilled, bank purpose also fulfilled. You received the money, bank also received the 5,000 rupees. Right? Now, these banks also, if they require an urgent money, so this bill of exchange is not 5,000, 10,000. It is in crores and crores. Okay, in reality. So if this bank wants money urgently, then what this bank will do is that it will approach RBI. Okay. So I am having this bill of exchange. I discounted at this price. So please rediscount this. Rediscount means, so this value is 95,000. So you give me 97,000. So 3,000 RBI you take. So give me 97,000. So me, నాకు ఎంత లాభం, నా బ్యాంక్ ఎంత లాభం, నేను 95,000 ఇచ్చా. సో ఐఎమ్ రిసీవింగ్ 97,000. ఇట్ మీన్స్ ఐఎమ్ గెటింగ్ 2,000 ప్రాఫిట్. RBI will receive 1 lakh rupees. Right? So actual this person receives, the exporter receives 95,000, bank receives 97,000, RBI receives 1 lakh. Right? The rate at which RBI discounts this bill of exchange from that bank, that rate we will call it as bank rate. Right? The rate at which RBI discounts the bill of exchange from the previous bank, that rate we will call it as bank rate. Right? So to understand clearly, here exporter, it is worth of 1 lakh. Here bank is there. Here RBI is there. Can you able to see it? You can able to see it, right? So here 1 lakh rupees. This bank discount at 95,000. Okay. So this person receives 95,000. Okay. This banks receive discount at 97,000. So this person receives 97,000. This person receives 1 lakh. 1 lakh. See here, the first person receives 95,000, right? Second person receives 97,000. It is a 2,000 is a profit. Third person receives 1 lakh rupees. 3,000 is a profit. This rate between this bank and RBI, rate at which this RBI discounts this bank's bill of exchange, that rate we will call it as bank rate. Simply, the rate at which RBI discounts the bill of exchange, that rate we will call it as bill of exchange, right? It is nothing but some kind of charges. That charge is called as bank rate, right? Clear? There is, will, sir, can I get a new slide? Fresh slide. Okay. So we have seen bank rate, right? We have seen bank rate. Bank rate is RBI and between bank like HDFC. From this bank, bill of exchange. Bill of exchange. This RBI take this bill of exchange and gives loan. Here some discount. This rate is bank rate. Now there is another rate. Okay, that rate we will call it as repo rate. Repo rate. Okay, repo rate, same concept. Okay, here bank is there. Bank require money. Here RBI is there. Bank require money. Bank require money. RBI have to give money to here. Bank, instead of bill of exchange, it will give securities. Sir? So here securities are there. Instead of bill of exchange, if you are placing securities, means government bonds, we also call as securities. Instead of bill of exchange, if the bank gives securities to the RBI and taking money, that, so this RBI won't give for free, it will charge some interest, right? This rate at which RBI lends to the bank by taking the securities, we will call it as repo rate. Okay, if the RBI lends to the lower bank at bill of exchange, that rate we will call it as bank rate. If the RBI lends to the bank by taking securities, that rate we will call it as repo rate, right? Same concept, but the mechanism is different. What we are going to use as an asset, that is different, right? What, for example, there is another term, reverse repo. Reverse repo. Reverse repo is opposite. If, for example, reverse repo, it means it is reverse to the repo rate. Here RBI is there. Here bank is there. Okay, here RBI requires money, not the bank. Here RBI requires money. They will purchase from the bank in return for government securities. వీళ్ళకి government securities ఇస్తారు. Government securities RBI bank ఇస్తుంది. So bank will give money. It won't give for free, right? It will charge some interest. This interest rate we will call it as reverse repo rate. The rate at which lower banks lend money to the RBI, that rate we will call it as repo rate. Okay. So as of now we have discussed NPA defaulter categories, and we have discussed defaulter categories. What do you mean by NPA? And we have also discussed the categories of NPA, and we have also discussed what do you mean by provisioning of capital. Okay, and about this asset quality review process, and we have also discussed what do you mean by bank rate and what do you mean by rediscount rate. Both are same. And we have also discussed repo rate and also reverse repo rate. Okay. Now we will see small topic, that is same associated topic, that is tight money policy and loose money policy. Tight money policy and loose money policy, same process. If the bank rate is high, otherwise if the rate of repo is high or bank rate is high, that technique we will call it as tight money policy. Why we will call it a tight money policy? Because if the bank rate is high, the bank will get less amount. If the repo rate interest is very high, for example here RBI is there, here bank is there, RBI gives money to bank by taking securities. This rate of interest we will call it as repo rate, right? If the rate of interest is very high, this bank will receive very less money. If the rate of interest is less, this bank receive more money. If the bank rate, otherwise the repo rate is more, then the bank receives very less money. Because of this reason, the money will become tight for this bank. It won't get the money easily. Because of this reason, high repo rate, high bank rate, that condition we will call it as tight money policy. Okay? If the interest rate is very less, then what happens? The bank receives more money. Okay, easy money. That mechanism we will call it as loose money policy. Tight money and loose money. Tight money is nothing but if the bank charges, RBI charges more interest, then the lower bank receives less money. That process we call it as tight money policy. If the lower bank gets money very easily and a higher amount, that mechanism we will call it as loose money policy. Right? So it is associated with the bank rate and repo rate. Then comes open market operation. Open market operation. Open market operation means government securities, means government bond. So there are government bonds. The government bond is looks like normal bond. The bond will have some value like 1 lakh. It will have some maturity date, for example 25th September 2025. What is the interest? 10% or 20%. So these things this bond will have. The bond contains what is amount. The bond will mention what is the maturity date. The bond will have also the rate of interest. Okay. All these things are mentioned in the bond. So okay, this bond, if the government issues, okay, that we will call it as government security. Simply. Okay. On behalf of government, RBI performs issuing these bonds. Government డబ్బులు కావాలంటే RBI ఓ బాండ్ తయారు చేస్తుంది. ఓకేనా? ఓ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వాళ్ళకి 10 lakh crore కావాలి గవర్నమెంట్కి. ద RBI prepares 10 lakh crore bond. ఓకేనా? What they will do is that they will sell this bond. They will sell this bond to the public. పబ్లిక్ ఎవరెవరి దగ్గర అయితే they will have money, ఎవరి దగ్గర అయితే డబ్బులు ఉంటాయో వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారంటే ఈ 10 lakhs పే చేసి గవర్నమెంట్కి ఈ బాండ్ తీసుకుంటారు. ఈ బాండ్ తీసుకోవడంలో పబ్లిక్ ఏం లాభం? దే విల్ గెట్ ద ఇంట్రెస్ట్. దే విల్ గెట్ 10%. 10 lakhsకి 10% మంత్లీ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ వాళ్ళకి వస్తుంది. అండ్ ఏదైతే మెచ్యూరిటీ డేట్ వస్తుందో ఆ మెచ్యూరిటీ డేట్ అప్పుడు ఈ 10 lakhs మళ్ళీ గవర్నమెంట్ పే చేస్తుంది. సో వాళ్ళకి 10% దగ్గర వచ్చే మనీ ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రాఫిట్ అండ్ ఆల్సో దే విల్ గెట్ దిస్ 10 lakhs ఏదైతే ఇప్పుడు వాళ్ళకి గవర్నమెంట్కి ఇస్తున్నారో దట్ అమౌంట్ ఆల్సో దే విల్ గెట్. ఓకే. సో ఆ విధంగా వెన్ ఎవర్ గవర్నమెంట్ రిక్వైర్ మనీ, RBI ప్రిపేర్స్ దిస్ బాండ్ and they will sell in the market. Okay. This selling and buying of government securities, that process we will call it as open market operation. Simple. Selling and buying of government securities by the RBI on behalf of government, that process we will call it as open market operations. Right? సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆర్బీఐ రిలీజ్డ్ 10 lakhs crores వాల్యూ ఆఫ్, కొంచెం ఏదైనా వాల్యూ ఉంది, బాండ్ రిలీజ్ చేసింది. వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్? పబ్లిక్ దగ్గర మనీ తక్కువ అయిపోతాయా, పబ్లిక్ దగ్గర డబ్బులు ఎక్కువ అవుతాయా? సో వాట్ పబ్లిక్ విల్ డూ? పబ్లిక్ విల్ ఇన్వెస్ట్ దేర్ మనీ ఇన్ దిస్ బాండ్. అంటే ఏమవుతుంది, ఇక్కడ గవర్నమెంట్ ఉంది, ఓకేనా, ఇక్కడ పబ్లిక్ ఉన్నారు. గవర్నమెంట్ ఈ బాండ్ రిలీజ్ చేసింది, మీన్స్ ఆర్బీఐ బాండ్ రిలీజ్ చేసింది. ఈ పబ్లిక్ దగ్గర ఉన్న డబ్బులు ఏం చేస్తారంటే ఈ డబ్బులు వీళ్ళకి ఇస్తారు గవర్నమెంట్కి. ఈ 10 lakh crore ఏదైతే ఉందో ఇది వీళ్ళకి ఇస్తారు, ఈ బాండ్ వీళ్ళు తీసుకుంటారు. అంటే ఇండైరెక్ట్గా పబ్లిక్ దగ్గర ఏదైతే మనీ ఉందో ద మనీ దట్ ద పబ్లిక్ ఈజ్ హ్యావింగ్ ఈజ్ టేకెన్ అవే బై ద గవర్నమెంట్, రైట్? పబ్లిక్ దగ్గర ఉన్న మనీని గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ టేకింగ్ అవే. ఇట్ మీన్స్ సెల్లింగ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ గవర్నమెంట్ సెక్యూరిటీ లీడ్స్ టు డిక్రీజ్ ఇన్ ద మనీ ఇన్ ద మార్కెట్ బికాస్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ టేకింగ్ ఇట్ బ్యాక్. Okay, selling of this government securities result to decrease in the money in the public. అదే సెల్ చేస్తే ఇప్పుడు here the public is buying the government security, so public is paying the government money. Okay, this result in decrease in the money in the public, decrease in the money with the public. Okay, in the same case, if here government, here public దగ్గర ఉన్న ఈ బాండ్ని 10 lakh crore గవర్నమెంట్ తీసుకొని వీళ్ళకి కానీ మనీ ఇచ్చింది అనుకోండి, ఇట్ రిజల్ట్స్ ఇన్ ఇంక్రీజ్ ఇన్ మనీ విత్ ద పబ్లిక్. ఇట్ మీన్స్ ఇఫ్ ద గవర్నమెంట్ బైస్ దిస్, బయింగ్, if the government is buying the government security from the public, it leads to the public is getting more and more money. If the government is selling the government security, then it leads to the decrease in the money with the public. Very, very important. Which one leads to the increase or decrease of the money with the public? Whether selling of this government security lead to increase of money with the public or buying leads to the increase of money. This concept is very, very clear. Very, very important in the UPSC exam. Okay, understood, right? So this process, overall process, buying and selling of this government securities by the government, this process we will call it as open market operations. Simple. So we have discussed open market operations, bank rate, repo rate and reverse repo rate. Okay, and we have also discussed the NPA, that is very important, classification of NPA. When we will call it as NPA after 90 days, and the classification of NPA, that is important for the exam. Okay, and how to deal with the NPAs, what are the government mechanisms behind that, what are the new acts, ఏవేవి చట్టాలు ఉన్నాయి, ఎలా వాటిని how to recover the NPAs, all those things will be discussed in the coming classes. Okay, that's it for the day. Do you have any doubts?